All right, hello and welcome back to Sports for Dummies, the number one sports podcast on the planet. My name is Josh, your guide to all things sports, including and most importantly, the AFL. Joined by the man, the myth, the absolute dummy, John. And in this episode today, we are going, as you can see right now, for those who are watching on the YouTube, the Adelaide Crows 2024 team preview. So, Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Joshy. And we are into AFL. I'm very excited. What we're going to do, we did say it in our last, sort of what we call it an episode. We're going to go through each team one by one. And we're just going to do it by alphabetical order. So we're going to start with the Adelaide Crows and see where we land, analyse their team, where we think they're headed, what their weaknesses are, and yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, it'll be good. Be very, very good. I just realised we were going to play the theme song, but we're actually not, because we'll play it on the outro,
Sure.
I think. For those who are watching, I think, I was going to play it, and then I was like, no, we're not doing
Would have been
that.
we could have introed it.
I don't know why you know what? We haven't done this in...
It's fine.
Yeah,
we only did it we're losing our touch. No, it's good. So, Adelaide... Well, let's just go back, I guess. Adelaide have been one of the most, clubs that have been dealing with the most drama in the past 6-7 years. They had their coach, and it's the only time that I know that this has happened at the end of the 2016 or start of the 2017 season. Phil Walsh, he died. I've never heard...
Oh, shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
And that team then was taken over by Don Pike. They won a premiership. They won the minor premiership. They made the grand final in 2017. They had the power stance. It was like they were all united, and they were beaten by a really good Richmond side. And that was the start of the Richmond dynasty. From there, they have just completely imploded. Yeah. There was I guess talks that the power stance that looked ridiculous. Then there was the infamous preseason camp where apparently they outsourced, to a company, and pretty much players were, tormented, ridiculed. Apparently there was racism involved in this. That was a few years back. So I think it would have been, when Bryce Gibbs left the Blues, so I think it was the 2018 season, pre-season. And apparently tough love type of thing. So you would tell these people, your deepest and darkest fears, and you would get ridiculed by it. It was like that type of mental trying to, I guess, get the best out of them. And it left the Crows in turmoil, and they've really, as of 2022, they finished 13th.
Last year they finished 10th.
And there is light at the other time. Also, Tex Walker, 2 years ago, was suspended for actual racism. During a seconds game, he was walking past and had a go at someone. So Adelaide were in massive torment. But they are on the up, I believe.
Well, I think I had them in the top 4 this year. So I had some absolute ludicrous predictions. So go back and watch our latest video where you can see with Harley.
I think Adelaide, what they have... So when they finished 13th, I never thought they were that bad. I thought there was obviously problems wrong with the club culturally. Yep. But you did say they had the key players. If they could get that working, what the interstate clubs have over Melbourne clubs, it's the one advantage they do have, is if you finish, say, in the bottom 4, the next year can literally be, hey, let's just make sure first and foremost, let's see if we can even the ledger and just not lose at home. Let's make our home ground a fortress. And it's easy to do because they train on the home ground. They've got the supporter base. So
their supporters aren't going to leave them.
No, they're not. And Adelaide's
it'd be
a big
weird
club.
if they did.
And Adelaide's a big club. So Adelaide did everything they could last year. They went up to 10th. Yep. Ben Keeves gets paid the goal that he should have. I think we'll play that now. Adelaide could have made the 8.
Could have, should have, would have.
Well, watch this, Josh. I'd be pretty dirty.
Didn't.
Pretty dirty.
Quite McAdam. Campbell Just great pressure, magnificent centre clearance by the skipper of Adelaide, putting enormous pressure on the Swans' defence. Keys could be the goal of his life. Opens it up, bangs it a goal.
Everyone's up there.
Oh, wow.
So he's called it a post. They've got to.
Touch the post. They're celebrating. They don't know. They don't know.
So that's... Yeah, right.
So that was a clear goal. It didn't show. It doesn't show the replay. It clearly went through, and that brings another question in terms of the review. They say they review every goal, even when they don't signal for it. Well, they clearly don't review everything because that was a clear goal, and that could have cost the Crows. But Adelaide had a really good year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did. And for those who are... I mean, any Adelaide supporter would know you guys have won the 2 premierships. It has been a while since...
Back-to-back, 97, 98.
Yeah.
That was a good side. You had the lights, McLeod, Rashudo, Ben Hart, Nigel Smart, Darren Jarman kicked 10 in both those games. Well, 10, like 5 in each. So that was a super team. What can they do this year, though? This is going to be interesting.
Well, it's just like what you said. It's progress. It's pure progress for them, and I think in terms of where do you see him sitting? I don't know where you put him on.
Where they finished last year is back to the point where I thought last year was all about can we make Adelaide Oval a fortress again, and they did. They're pretty hard to beat there. They lost a few games there, but they are pretty good there. This year,
how many home games do they get there?
So they get 12.
Okay, so pretty much half.
You get 12. You get half of that. So if you can clear the ledger, and then with confidence as a good side, then you steal 3, 4, 5 on the road. Well, there's a 15, 16 win side. So Adelaide's I guess the positives for Adelaide, which they were the number 1 scoring team last year.
Yeah, right.
They were the number 1 scoring team
in the AFL.
In the AFL.
What were they averaging?
So they had most totals. I don't know what they're at.
Oh, okay.
So Taylor Walker came second in the Coleman, kicking just over 70. Darcy Fogarty kicked 35. Josh Reshicelli had 23. That's an interesting one to say. Isaac Rankin was a great, addition from Gold Coast. He had his best year, kicked 36.
Yeah, he's a guy.
And then you had Ben Keys, who's generally a midfielder, go to that half-forward wing to bob up. So their forward line is set. And what Adelaide have always had, the Adelaide Oval, I guess, lends itself to, it allows small forwards because of the energy. So remember when Eddie Betts was there, you get the crowd going, and that's how small forwards thrive on. So Isaac, no wonder Isaac Rankin goes there and has his best season. So I think their forward line, they're potent enough to kick a score and beat anybody, especially at home. They've got
arguably one of the best full forwards in.
Well, Taylor Walker was absolutely superb, and he went through, by his own fault, the racial slurs that he said. But guess what? He's come back better than ever, and he wasn't even playing good then either. It's almost a kick. He lost the captaincy. We just forget how good he is. Like for a big guy, how mobile he is. He's one of the best shots I've ever seen.
Reminds me of Big Fev. Like as a traditional forward.
Oh yes,
I feel like that forward will slowly die out of the game.
Kind of. It's very different, isn't it?
It's very different.
It's a different
you look
game.
back at Brendan Favola. Now he played for he was Carlton and then he moved over to Thingo, didn't he?
He went to Brisbane, yeah.
Yeah. But they always seem to do, Anyway, that aside, Tex Walker definitely, he's very much up there with one of the last remaining full forwards that are still kicking them. Lance Franklin was that one, and then I reckon Tex and Hawkins, and that's about it.
Yeah, they're the last. And then you've got, Charlie.
I think
Curnow had a good one.
But he's that hybrid sort of.
He won us a game against Gold Coast at the end of the year by taking the winning mark in the back line.
That's what I mean. He's a hybrid.
He played. Wouldn't be surprised if someone said, Curnow, go have a run in the midfield.
That's what I mean.
And he could.
Yeah.
But this Adelaide forward line is amazing. Their midfield is actually pretty good too. Jordan Dawson had an absolute stellar year. He won the BNF, first All-Australian. He averaged 27 touches, but what was awesome, he averaged 6 tackles.
Yeah, right.
So
That's big.
he goes the other way.
Good Supercoach player.
Very good super coach player. You got Matt Crouch. Rory Laird's at the end of his career, so I think he's going to be on and off the bench. I guess what's my concern for Adelaide, that the good things is obviously their forward line, and I think their midfield's pretty good too. Their back line, they've got a lot of injuries in their back line already to start the year. Jordan Butts, Wayne Malira, Nick Murray's a big one. He was up until round 19, he did his ACL. He was having a super year. He averaged 7.3 spoils.
Bloody hell!
So that's
what's the average for a back line? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be 2 or 3. 7's high. That's high. That's your elite. That's your elite players. And to have when does he come back? That will be interesting.
ACL is normally a year, isn't it?
Correct. So he's round 19. So yeah, we might not see him for a little bit. So that's my concern with Adelaide. They did recruit Dan Curtin at pick 8. That all reports he was the best defender
in the
draft. But he's having jarring injuries with his knee. They expect him to be there. But let's see with these young players, you just don't know. And in their midfield, I actually don't know how to say Soligo. I was going to say Caniglio because I'm so used to it. He's also a couple of interesting. Yeah, that's the one. I just, for whatever reason, I thought Caniglio.
Soliglio.
So what? I guess my concern is Adelaide's backline. So already players who are injured during, this early part. We haven't even started yet.
I was going to say you got 3 of their best.
You got 3 players gone. You got 3 players out, and even if they come back in a couple of weeks, how does that affect their? I guess how was their preseason? And that is the big concern. So Adelaide first for points. They were a middle side in terms of, I think they 10th for points against, so they weren't horrible.
Yeah,
they weren't horrible, but definitely not enough to you'd think, okay, you're going to be a premiership contender.
Well, yeah, if you're getting most points and then you got 10th against and you finish 10th, that's kind of that's confusing, isn't it?
Well, that's total. You don't know. There's a lot of close games that are lost.
Yeah,
correct.
There's a lot of close.
There's a lot of close games that were lost there as well.
Where do so you reckon they're going to finish in the 10th?
I think they'll finish in the top 8. I've got them finishing at the bottom end of that. And that speaks to more. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive league. Apart from, I think Collingwood are the clear favourites. But then there's a lot of strong sides, like Brisbane are going to be up there. Carlton. I think Geelong are going to be. They had a horrible year. If they can have everyone on the park,
they're not coming back.
Well, they get 8 games at home as well. And then I guess they're Ruck, Rolly, O'Brien.
Wait, do they get 8 or 12 at Geelong?
They get 8.
Okay, so the interstate teams get 12.
12.
Geelong, obviously, because Geelong is basically Melbourne.
You get the 11 games. Remember, they have a showdown.
Yes.
So is that an away game? The only thing that's effective is obviously the home team gets more tickets.
That's very true. We'll chuck on some highlights of text while we're talking as well. For those who don't know,
so it was just good to see him again. He's just he even looks like that old school forward. He's got the socks up.
He normally brings the socks up. That's what I love about him, and I think that's one thing that. Look at that. That is some good footy. Just the way he kicks it, the way he holds the ball.
It's beautiful, and he's just freakishly mobile for a guy of his size.
Yeah.
It was a game last year because he came back to some form last year. I can't remember who it was against. It might have been the Bulldogs, and he hadn't got back to form, and he kicked 6 or 7. And it was like, okay, this guy still on his day can monster the average sides.
Yeah.
But he had a big year last year, and if he can, and Tom Hawkins has shown these big forwards, can keep playing well into their 30s.
100%.
And I think he's a big key. Fogarty, he's heir apparent, who's an absolute beast. That's a great tandem. And then you've got the small forwards. I think that their forward line is arguably the best. It is the best in the comp. I'll say it. Adelaide has the best forward line in the comp.
Bit cool. I mean, makes sense. They're the number one scoring team in the AFL.
Number one scoring.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's just, can they get their back line ready? Can they take advantage of their, I guess, home and away, dominance at Adelaide Oval? Can they go to the new level? But then what's going to be important, can they win like a lot of these clubs? Can they win in Melbourne? Because it's going to be the important part.
It is, and I can understand for interstate fans how annoying it must be if you're an interstate club having to come down to the G and play on the biggest stage in front of the biggest crowd they've ever seen. Like there's the venue interstate that has 100,000 capacity.
It doesn't. Adelaide Oval does have 50, 60,000.
Yeah, I'm not saying
and
it's
it's
not
just
pure them. I understand. Yeah. But when you're coming up against, say, like a Colin, I don't know how they distribute the tickets, but I do understand that you have that. If you're playing against Collingwood at the G,
the prelim final is actually the worst one because that's pure members. Grand final is very corporate, so it gets diluted down. But that just shows to that point how good 97 and 98 that Adelaide side was, because they did not finish top 4.
Yeah.
And they had to play 4 games each year on the road.
Yeah.
And they won. And both years they beat the top side.
Pretty impressive.
It's arguably the greatest wins, as in I'm not saying they were the best team. They actually were far from the best team. But what they had to do in terms of one of the hardest roads, whoever the excuse of the MCG, the good sides, I've seen plenty of interstate championships. Premiumships, sorry, I'm used to saying championships because of the NBA.
I was just waiting.
It's premiumships. Pass mark for me. I think for Adelaide, they have to make the finals now. They've got the best forward line. They've got a good midfield. They've got a home ground advantage. I think at worst, they've got to make the finals.
Why? That's why I'm fourth. I just think, like I said, you've nailed it on the head. I didn't actually know they were the number one points for in the AFL for the last year, but it doesn't surprise me based on their forward line. So if they can just make sure their back line's pretty damn good and they don't get enough scored against them, they'll be up there.
That's
all they need to do.
That's what we're worried about.
They've got a great midfield. They've got Rory Laird is arguably one of the best in the league. They've still got Rory Sloane, who can come in. He's a bit of an old dog now, but he can come in and turn on a game. And he used to have his. Anyone who loves their super coach, he could have his field days, and he's a gun.
Oh, he was a
kick his 3 goals, have his 30 plus disposals, and
he was a gut runner, and he just has a lot of heart. So I guess coming off the bench, that's he sort of like that spiritual leader. Jordan Dawson
and Ben Keys.
and then Jordan Dawson, who went to another level. This is where can he go to that upper echelon where some people are already having him. I know a few people like top 3 in the league already. Off last year, like he's rated highly. So their midfield
and Crouch as well. Like they've got an incredible midfield and forward line.
Matty Crouch is good. Their back line, I mean Brodie Smith, but it's just their back line's not even bad. It's just they're too injured. Yeah, they're too injured. They're probably their gaping hole. And then can Riley O'Brien go up against the absolute beasts?
Yeah,
can he do it in the finals? But I like the look of him too.
Well, like you said, there are 2 additions that they got in. I think it was Chris Burgess and.
So Chris Burgess goes straight in now. Will he? I guess he has to. From he's from the Gold Coast. He goes straight in just with the injury, I guess, concerns that they've got down back.
And Curtin,
I'd think goes straight in. How highly touted that he was purely on the injuries. Does he? I would say he goes straight in myself.
He would have to. He'll be in on the Supercoach.
We'll find out because the community, because that starts in a few weeks.
The community series? Yeah, it starts on, I'm positively certain, I think the 28th or the 29th of Feb. So it's pretty soon.
bring it.
By the way, guys, we are doing this alphabetical order of the team previews. Adelaide, for me, as I said, top 4. That's where I think they need to be. Pass mark is definitely, I think, getting up to 6th or higher. That's definitely where I think they need to be. To see this list, I think Tex Walker, I don't know how many more years you're going to get out of him.
I reckon he's got 2 or 3.
But that's what I'm saying. Your best one of your best forwards.
They play West Coast.
That's going to be hard.
On March the 2nd, you'd think.
Should be a walk in the park.
Do you
tank?
they're not
Do you
going
just hold your-
They're not going to play their full. So does West Coast play their full side, or do they play their seconds? Because they're so bad.
Just because you're a shit team doesn't mean you bow down because you set up your whole squad.
But it's community series. Normally they don't play.
No,
everyone.
that's what I'm saying.
Do
they would probably. They're both they'll both play the teams that they'll probably just run the new kids in a bit. And
it's really I don't even get excited from. It'll be good to watch, these young players in, but I just remember where there was a full competition, and it was an elimination where it was a knockout draw, and there was a little
cup or the NAB Cup, and it made it like the Harry Potter series. It was bloody great,
and whoever won got paid money.
Yeah,
there was an incentive. It was great for Carlton. We were on our knees and winning wooden spoons, but goddamn, would we win that NAB Cup?
Yeah, because you actually wanted the money. Maybe that's where the NBA took it from.
So what's your pass mark? I know you've got them finishing 4th.
6th
What's
or
your
higher.
Yeah. 6th
6th.
is their pass
6th.
mark. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I think, like you said, that keys. I did see the keys. I just wanted to understand the kick again, but I remember hearing about it. It was massive. No one did not know about it. They should have made the finals. So for them, I think with their recruiting.
They would have come up against
squad,
Carlton. They would have come up against Carlton and lost.
They would have, but the synergy, I'm not saying they would have gotten any further, but I think they would have made the finals. It would have been great to have seen them. I think this preseason, they're getting more like every team will. You're getting closer. The culture's getting better. Well, in some teams. But I just feel like this is their year where they probably need to make it happen because, like I said, they're big, they're really good players. Rory Sloane, Tex Walker, these guys are getting older in age.
There is some age there.
Yep, and I feel like it's only a matter of time. Give it 2-3 years, like you said, and I think that they'll be gone. So I think they're probably at a position where they want to. They've got a lot of youth. I'm not saying they don't.
They've still got a lot of youth, which is really good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is they'll set themselves up really, really well to be a top 4 team.
Yeah.
Like I can't see them not. Whether it's I as I said, 4th this year, I think is where they're going to finish. If it's not this year, it'll be next year, without doubt. Because based on their team,
I feel
unless they lose a few players,
I just can't see them. So working it through. So they're not better than Collingwood. They're not better than Brisbane. So automatically, are they better than? So the interesting one, are they better than Port? Because I've got Port dropping right down. Are they better than Melbourne? I don't think they're better than Melbourne. I think Melbourne even though they've had their issues, I think Melbourne are still going to really hurt size. I think Carlton are better than Adelaide. I think Geelong are better than Adelaide. So that's why I have them at sort of that bottom end of the 8. 4th for me would be a surprise. But if they finish 5th or 6th, I wouldn't scoff at that. I wouldn't be like, yeah, that makes sense. If they finish 4th, that's a really good year. That's a very good year.
No, I'm hoping they do. Because I said that on the predictor. And I'm
of course
hoping
you're hoping they do.
Fruition, yes. Anyway, is there anything else we need to add?
I think that's it. Next will be the Brisbane Lions.
Yep.
So the runners-up of last year. So, that will be next Monday. Josh is abandoning us again. He's got I don't know, he'll be celebrating a funeral or something. I don't know. It's a wedding. That's right. That's okay. It's pretty much a funeral. So we will dissect the Brisbane Lions as of next Monday. And then it's just going to be from there till the community series. It's just going to be back to back to back to back.
What's that movie, The Wedding Crashers?
The wedding where he ends up.
You'd be the one that go to a funeral.
Funerals are where it's at. Mom, the meatloaf.
No, I want it now.
God damn, what is she doing?
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe.
And ring the fucking bell.
We appreciate the 67 of you who already
thanks,
have
guys.
done that. We really do. So we're keen for a new year of the 2024 AFL season. It is coming up very, 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 very quickly. And we have a lot of fun work to jump into. So, guys, we'll see you in the next one where we review the Brisbane Lions. Thank you so much for watching.
See you guys.